what would
So,
you tell that person or those people that are really struggling in the valley and see no way out?
right. Um, well, a few things run through my mind when you say this, but the first thing is you're not alone. There are other people that may feel the same way you do. It's not unusual to feel this way. Um, and the other thing is, I would encourage you to reach out. There are people that love you, people that want to see you um, come pulling you up by your bootstraps, but they will do it. They will pull you by your bootstraps and they'll give you the boots off their feet as well. There are people out there that care. One of the other things that recently I don't know if it was on Instagram or saw a message, an ad or something, and it was a company that makes bracelets that on the inside of it, I wear it every day. It says, "Beautiful girl, you can do hard things," and you can do hard things. We can all do hard things. It's one step at a time, and it's just moving forward in any sort of motion forward. Just getting out of bed, putting both feet on the bed and standing up may be the one hard thing that you have to do today. And do that hard thing because you can. And that's what I would say is there are people that love you, there are people that want to help, and you can do hard things.
I love that. I tell people all the time, I taught career development for a number of years at Georgia Tech, and I'd always tell my students, your vibe is your tribe.
Yeah,
And, that a community, that's another reason you love NARPM and I love IRM. Um, it's a community of like-minded people.
it's my
And
tribe. It is my people.
it
Yeah,
is your people.
absolutely. Yeah.
And so, and I tell people too that one of the most important things to do when you are in the valley is to control your environment. Don't add anything else to your plate.
Hmm.
It's addition through subtraction. What are the
Absolutely.
absolute things that you can do without, and what are the things that you consider non-negotiable? You can turn your phone off earlier. You can get an extra hour of sleep. You can say no to social media.
Hmm.
If you're only as, your output is only as good as your input. And
Right.
I think that it's important for people that are struggling emotionally and spiritually and just suffering from overall loneliness is to get outside yourself.
That
And
community service. Go shopping for Toys for Tots, or maybe not shopping, but go. You can't serve like at the soup kitchen anymore, but maybe you can buy a bag of groceries and go to where the homeless people gather and drop off a bag of groceries. A simple something like that. Just
and
focusing on
walking
others.
and exercising. I mean, there's all my IRAM family, they know if you ever need a book, you should call Dr. Debbie.
Yeah,
But there's great books about, one is called Well-Being.
yeah,
Is that people are financially strapped right now and they've got an overload of stress around the holidays. And I want to encourage people to choose presence over presence.
yeah. Well, and one of the other things that one of the several Zoom meetings we were on, one of the speakers talked about just simply reaching out to someone, picking up the phone that you haven't spoken to, and we don't talk on the phone very often anymore. We text or we email.
Right.
Pick up the phone and check in and ask them how are they doing, and taking it outside of yourself, I think, is really helpful, very helpful.
I call it a good vibes folder. There's the lost art of the handwritten note.
Yeah.
And I always save notes that I've gotten from my students and my tribe.
Hmm.
And if there's ever a day that I'm feeling like, what am I doing here and does it all matter? all I have to do is go in that good vibes folder
Yeah.
and read a card or send a card. It looks like the Hallmark store in my office because I just like to send handwritten notes, because
Hmm.
there'll be a time when you can't connect with somebody on the phone, but you can go in that note folder and find something good.
I've got it posted on my wall right here, all little push pins with notes and emails that I've printed off, just giving me encouragement and thanking me. And just even one from my daughter that said, she thinks I'm doing a great job. And so I think it's awesome. That I think I totally agree, is making that an intentional place where you can go when you are feeling down.
I think creating a vision board, you were talking about being future facing and forward facing. The windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell people the only reason you need to look in the rear view mirror is to see how far you've come. We
Yeah,
come a long way
it's
during
a
this
great quote.
time,
Yeah.
you know.
We really, really, truly have, just even individually as small teams, and as a society, what we've done as a society has, I think, is commendable. There's some things that, maybe some roadblocks along the way, or speed bumps, but um, on a one-on-one that I see, I've been riding my bicycle in Seattle. It's very few and far between where it's a dry enough day where you can get out. But I've noticed as I'm passing people, or other people walking or running, there's more smiles and nods than there ever has been in the past. And I think that says a lot about our society and our culture.
There was a researcher that talked about four different zones. And he said before the pandemic, we were all in a comfort zone.
Mm.
And then when we got news that we were going to be sheltering in place, we became fearful and we were in our fear zone. And then around March and April and May, we learned how to do Teams, we learned how to do Zoom, and we were in a learning zone. And now that author encourages us to be in a growth zone, like,
Yeah.
because people today, I think, and I'd love your thoughts on this. I think people have started to question their purpose more. And they've started saying, is this worth it? What
Yeah.
am I doing? And I think that people have had more time for self-reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what has been probably one of your most significant growths or markers of progress?
I think for me, and it had to do with my expectations. I was really, and I still am, even though it's the end of my term. When I took the office of president for NARPM in January, I was really excited about everything it came with it. I've worked really hard to get there. I was looking forward to all the travel, to meeting all the people, building all those bonds, creating connections, and doing the speaking part of it. And for me personally, the disappointment that I experienced by not being able to do that, and again, like you said, someone else's experiences are way bigger, of bigger importance than mine, but it was mine, and so I'm not going to minimize it. And so for me to shift, and it took me a few months to say, okay, I said this in my acceptance speech when I took the office back at our annual convention last October, that I believe I'm exactly where I need to be when I need to be there. Although this wasn't the trip I expected, I believe I was right where I needed to be for NARPM and to lead the organization through this. Again, like, it wasn't, my expectations were not met, but I think I have come to appreciate and embrace the fact that I had an opportunity that no other NARPM president will ever have, I hope. No one else will ever have to do this. So for me, the growth came from accepting that and embracing it and saying, okay, I've got is this really a bowl of lemons, or is it a glass of lemonade? And what am I going to do with it? Was really where I went personally. And then once I got over that, I could shift my attitude a little bit better, or more easier. I always had a good attitude, but I may not have had it when the cameras weren't rolling, or when I wasn't talking to the NARPA members and stuff. But I always try to be upbeat, and then it just got easier and easier, and more authentic. And same with my team is you kind of want to throw in the towel and throw your hands up and say, fine, I don't want to do this anymore, but you can't, because you have people relying on you. And as the team and NARPM responded in a positive way, it gave that momentum of success. And so as I shifted my attitude and kind of got through where I, mourned the losses that I had, it just got better. And so that was my growth, was being able to embrace the disappointments and use them to my advantage and to the advantage of the organization, NARPM, and my company.